Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Today y Mañana. I'm Alex. This is Nick. We're very excited to have you joining us this morning on what looks like a beautiful morning in Charlottesville, Virginia. Here it is sunny. It has a slight spring chill in the air, but I know it's going to warm up later. And it's a great day to really just celebrate some great spring things that we can look forward to. So it's
such as
Days of Rosé Festival, among other things. So I'm glad to have you here, Nick.
Nice segue. Oh, thank you. It's been a while. When was the last time I was on? It's been at least a month.
At least, have you done it in the new year besides like the very first one?
Yes, I've done it in the new year, but I haven't done it in probably about a month.
It's been a little while, so I'm glad. And it's been a while probably since you and I did it. Usually if you were on, it's because I was not.
Right, that is true. I covered for you for
a little while.
Yeah, a small spell.
And you probably will again.
Yeah, absolutely.
In the near future.
Be prepared for June, everyone, because I'll have to cover for Alex because he won't be here.
Exactly. I'll be vacationing.
Honeymooning.
I'll be honeymooning in May, so Nick will be covering for me then. But I'm glad to have you here.
Thank you.
Very excited for today's show. We're going to have some fantastic guests. We're going to be joined later in the show by Allison Evanow. She is the owner and founder of Square One Organic Vodka right here in Ivy, Virginia. Later in the show, of course, also some of our good friends, Josephine Carr from Castle Hill and Matt Harmon from Harmony Wine to talk about Days of Rosé Festival and so much more. Later on in the show. So we're very much looking forward to it. Love being here on the I Love CVille Network set. Thank you, Judah, behind the camera. I'm sure he's already doing his magic to make you and I look good. And thank you to Emergent Financial Services for being our presenter, and to our great partners that we have at Castle Hill Cider, Matthias Yohn Realty, our good friends Chit and Miguel at Sirius Craddock Insurance, and of course Forward Adelante, the premier Latino networking group here in Charlottesville, Virginia. So we have so much to look forward to this morning. Already got some people liking the show this morning. I mean, not just Nate, but also Jerry Miller liking the show this morning. We got Hunter Smith liking the show this morning. So we got some big fans already joining us. So it's going to be Edwin Scott Thiel. Thanks for watching this morning. So it's going to be a great show. Be sure to send us any questions, comments you may have. Interact with our amazing guests, and we are definitely.
I know it's a bit late, but I will say that I am glad that Judah still has his magic working after his haircut, because my fear was that he wouldn't be.
Poor Judah. You're the only one that everyone else thinks he looked great.
He does look great. I was worried because of the Samson and Delilah thing that he got his hair cut, and then all of a sudden he wouldn't be able to be director anymore. But it appears
doing a great job.
It appears that he's still just the best.
He's doing a fabulous job. And he will continue to do so. So we love having him here. So I don't know about you, but I'm thrilled. I'm excited to jump right into today's show. So we are very happy to welcome to the show this morning Allison Evanow. She is the owner and founder of Square One Organic Vodka. Allison, thanks so much for joining us this morning.
Thank you, guys. Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
We're thrilled. We're thrilled to have you on. So, tell us a little bit about yourself and kind of what led you down the path of exploring organic spirits.
Yeah, it's been a long history. I'm a native Virginian, but I did leave Virginia after graduating from UVA and lived in a lot of different places, and ended up in Northern California in the wine business, and also in the spirits business as well, working for some pretty large companies at the time. And just literally one day, living outside of San Francisco, going to the organic farmers markets, belonging to a lot of organic, natural, sustainable organizations and things like that, I recognized that there was an opportunity for certified organic spirits that really didn't exist at the time.
Right.
So I started Square One 18 years ago, and that made us the first all-organic spirits company in the whole country.
Wow.
So we really were a pioneer, and since we are still in Women's History Month, I will also say that I was one of the first women to start a spirits company as well. So
wow, congratulations! That is wonderful.
Part of our philosophy as well, not just organic, but women supported.
Absolutely. So you mentioned, I know a lot of spirits that people just go, you walk into your store and you got your spirits. Not organic, artificial flavorings and colorings and stuff to get it, to look the way they want it to look on the shelf, right? What sort of led you to go towards vodka first out of all the different sort of spirits that there are out there?
Yeah. Actually, it was a couple things. First of all, I think one of the many impetuses behind starting the company was living in the San Francisco area, going to the bars, and really watching this kind of craft cocktail movement as it was, in its at the very beginning, and recognizing that there were a lot of bartenders who were shopping for organic ingredients at the farmers market, coming back, putting it on the special of the day, if you will, on their cocktail menu, and then me being from the industry, knowing that maybe one of the brands they were using on the spirit side was full of additives and things that they were kind of hiding, if you will. Yeah. So part of it was that, and really it was just the idea that in the vodka category in particular, back then especially, was still full of fake flavors. I kind of joke that you get strawberry from a guy in a white lab coat, not from the strawberry fields, right? Yeah. So the idea behind it was to do farm to glass, buying actually from the farms and infusing it into our spirits. And again, in our industry, in the spirits industry, and vodka in particular, most of the brands are buying a bulk pre-made alcohol that they're then maybe redistilling or doing whatever. But we are buying organic rye from farms in Montana, we're distilling it in Idaho, and then we're using real plant-based botanical infusions for our cucumber vodka and our botanical spirit and our basil vodka and our bergamot citrus vodka. So that's really, the idea was to improve the vodka category by using real botanicals.
That makes total sense.
Well, especially that vodka is, I think, the number one spirit purchased, right?
Yeah.
So
that
does make a lot of sense.
So many cocktails are made with it, and it's true. What a shame, like, if you don't, you get like a specialty cocktail, and everything's like from a local farm.
Yeah.
And then you're using this vodka that has some artificial coloring and the flavors fade, and you're like, that kind of defeats, like, that's the number one thing.
Purpose,
like, most of that drink is going to be the vodka.
Yeah.
It's a shame if the number one thing in there defeats the whole purpose of the drink.
Exactly. Yeah, absolutely. And that was really the aha moment, was exactly that.
Wow.
So what was it like? What was like to take that plunge and say, all right, I see this need, right? I see this niche. I see kind of where I can take this. I'm going to stop what I'm doing now, and I'm going to start my own company to do this.
Yeah, it's all timing, right? I mean, I started the company when my twins were 6 months old. I know, I don't know what I was thinking. But, the idea literally hit me in the middle of the night. And, I got up and wrote down, I came up with the brand Square One from, right then and there, and wrote it down and some other ideas about it. And it was just one of those things where I knew, because I came from the industry, wine and spirits, I'd worked for big companies, I knew the industry, and I thought, if I don't do it, somebody else is going to do it, and I'm really going to be mad at myself. Right. And, I literally remember saying to my husband that morning at breakfast, hey, honey, I have an idea. Instead of going back to work for somebody else, now that it's about time for me to, go back to work when the boys were 6 months old, but I want to start my own spirits company. And he was the one that said, if you don't do it, you will be upset, because you will be the first, and you know what you're doing. And so that was kind of it.
Well, because it is. We've heard many times the difficulty of taking the plunge, as Alex used, the plunge of going from working for somebody else to working for yourself. Were there challenges in terms of the business side, not just in terms of trying to make an organic spirit?
Right, definitely. I mean, my sister is my investor, if you will. She lives in Richmond. She's in banking. And we both mortgaged our houses and took loans out on our homes to fund the business. And so we really, let's just say that back then, trying to get somebody to invest in an organic spirits company and a woman-owned one before the craft spirits movement had really actually started was very challenging. That was, the figuring out how to actually financially do it was the biggest challenge, and it still is 18 years later. That doesn't go away. We didn't start with $1 billion, so certainly is not one of those things that's easy to do. So the financing was challenging, but also knowing that we're in a highly regulated industry, trying to figure out, how to how to go about getting everything done yourself. Let's just say I'm federally fingerprinted.
Yeah, right. I can believe it. Yeah.
I mean, we know it just here in Virginia alone.
Yeah.
It's a highly regulated.
Don't get me started.
You wouldn't be the first.
I know.
First guest.
I love living here now, but boy, living in a Virginia control state is not the same as when I started the company in California.
Wow.
It's a lot easier in California.
That's for sure. Paul Ross, like the show's morning, says great brand. So you got a fan already.
Yeah,
commenting.
Paul's had plenty of my product before,
and he likes it. He's sharing the love on the shade. So I'm curious, what are some of the products that you have in terms of the vodka, and maybe as you talk about them, talk a little bit about the process of thinking of a flavor. I wouldn't even know where to start. Like, okay, I'm gonna go for this kind of flavor combination.
Right. Well, pardon the pun, it all started at square one. So if you think about the way we use the term square one, generally speaking, we say, oh, you messed up, you screwed up, and you go back to square one.
Right.
Well, I wanted to start at square one. I wanted us to be conscious about starting at square one, that all of our products were going to be organic, farmed without herbicides, pesticides, etc., all natural and real and authentic. So that's the beginning. So, I only brought my little baby bottle today, but the Square One Organic Rye Vodka is our flagship, and that's where it all started. This launched April 1st, 2006. It was actually coincidental that it was the first time a national magazine had ever dedicated a whole issue to the green movement, which was Vanity Fair magazine. And we actually were a sponsor of the movie An Inconvenient Truth, which Al Gore produced that. And it was really trying to start to bring to light a lot of things that we needed to do for our environment, including farming without herbicides, pesticides, etc. So that was the beginning. But then when you move into the rest of the spirits, and until 2020, we were exclusively a spirits company only. We now have 2 other product lines, which I'll quickly talk about. But when it comes to your question about the flavors, at the end of the day, I'm a cocktail nerd. I love cocktails. I love beer, wine, everything. I love food and going to restaurants. And I really thought about our botanical infusions from what I say is the cocktail backwards, meaning what do I want it to be like at the end? Not what's a trendy flavor or whatever. What do I want to contribute to the cocktail with my spirits? So outside of the straight organic rye vodka, the next one was cucumber. And we were the first cucumber vodka in the world. There's probably like 30 now that all copied us, and most of them from big companies. I was like, could you have just written the check and just, right? But no, it was easier to copy than to write the check. But that's because I wanted a super fresh garden-like profile. And then that kind of every spirit we've made, our basil vodka has 4 different basils in it, 3 different other non-basil varietals, and so I wanted something herbaceous. Things that you can't just muddle in easily, and that's really kind of the mindset of what we do on the spirits.
Yeah. Wow. But things that are also somewhat versatile in the sense that, in other words, that base can then be used creatively in a number of different cocktails.
Now, just to clarify, when you say muddle in easily, is because of the muddling basil into a cocktail is a difficult.
You can muddle basil,
right.
And at home you definitely can. But when I think of the bartender, because a lot of our spirits were really with the bartender first in mind, because again, this was the beginning of the craft cocktail movement, and the vodka category, quite frankly, did not, and it didn't deserve it. It did not have respect from the craft cocktail bartenders. And so our goal was we wanted to bring you something that was hard for you, the bartender, to make. So sure, they can muddle basil very easily, but a lot of times they want to do their infusions. Basil infusion will last a day. It just starts to get not so great. Plus, we use 4 different varieties of basil and lemongrass, coriander, honeysuckle flower. So it's complex. It's not just throw in one basil leaf. And so that's really the goal at the time, was really more with the bartender in mind. Now at home, I mean, we definitely tell people to use fresh herbs or whatever, but you can't get the level of complexity that we have in our spirits, because we use multiple botanical profiles, not just one single one. Other than the cucumber, that's the only one that's the single one.
But which I find fascinating, right? That's why I wanted to make sure I clarify, because I think a lot of people at home aren't necessarily may not be crafty cocktail people, but just having been with so many different guests, like you can see why. I mean, it's the difficulty of certain other businesses. I find that fascinating that like that was part of the focus.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
And now that consumers are more accustomed to, more sophisticated cocktails at home, and let's face it, COVID did a good job of promoting that.
Right.
You definitely have a lot of people who said, well, if I can't go out to a restaurant, I might as well learn how to make something more sophisticated.
Right.
And so we are seeing the benefit of that. Consumers are less intimidated about making really cool, unique cocktails at home, not just vodka soda or gin and tonic.
Yep.
Or bourbon.
Which of course makes them
sour.
more interested in something with a different flavor profile.
Right. Exactly.
That's fascinating. So where have you been done now? Because I know you mentioned now you've kind of branched into other product areas.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, we host events all over the country. I mean, I was just a couple weeks ago in Boston shaking cocktails for 4 days, and I think there were maybe 10,000 people that came through this 4-day horticulture and culinary festival. And we at these events in the past, especially because we were the first organic spirits company, we were pressing all of our own juices, prepping all of our own syrups, and when we would do these cocktail events, I mean, we'd come in with just almost like we were our own catering company, and the consumers would taste our cocktails and say, these are amazing, they taste fresh, they're real, etc. But I'm not going to do that at home. And yet the cocktail mixer category is full of junk, right? If you think about what you see on the shelf in most general grocery stores for cocktail mixers, high fructose corn syrup, neon green color for your margarita mix, just fake everything. And so just like we decided to upgrade the vodka category with real ingredients, we decided that we would do the same with cocktail mixers. So we launched in 2020 a line of also USDA certified organic cocktail mixers. We have a spicy ginger syrup, a Bloody Mary mix that's also vegan, which is unusual for Bloody Mary, a margarita mix, which we just call Luscious Lime, and a really delicious daisy, pink daisy, which is pomegranate lemon. So those are non-alcoholic and so can be sold retail. They're in all the Whole Foods in the Mid-Atlantic, for example. Yeah. But then at the same time, this canned cocktail movement was starting to explode. And my distributors are like, okay, great, I get it, why you're doing the cocktail mixers to mix with your spirits, make it easier, but this category is on fire. You need to do something in that too. Right. So that's when we decided to come out with also the canned cocktails, and they all borrow from the mother product. So this pair of roses, it's coincidental that I brought that today, considering it's like Rosé Day.
It's the mind meld at work.
And it's because there's rose and rosemary and pear in it, so it's a play on words, pair of roses. But this is borrowed from our botanical spirit. And then we have one called Cucumber Therapy, which borrows from our cucumber vodka, and Basil Berry Fizz, strawberry basil lemon, which is in all the adult beverage carts at Disneyland. So, so we now have the canned cocktails and the cocktail mixers as well.
That's awesome. And really like you said, taking that mentality of, going back to square one and in a positive sense, and like rebuilding this from the bottom up to other areas, which is true. I mean, canned cocktails is probably the majority are loaded with stuff you're like, I would never put this in my own cocktail. Why am I buying it in a canned one?
Exactly.
And really taking that next step and saying, hey, you know what, I'm going to have a cocktail of the quality that I would make at home.
Right.
Because at home, you're not going to buy yourself a bottle of high fructose corn syrup and start, shoving it in your cocktail.
Right.
You'll make a nice sugar. That would be awful.
Yeah,
no one would think of doing that, but it's amazing. You go to the store and you're like, oh yeah, let me get this sugar syrup, and it's high fructose corn syrup.
Exactly.
So just so nice to be able to see that. So if you want that convenience, you can still get that same quality.
Right, and the key thing too for our mixers is we put a lot of juice in them, and most of them are watering them down and using flavor boosters, even if they're natural flavorings, and we're not. So, if you're buying our Luscious Lime mix to make either a margarita or with our vodka, gimlet or something like that, you're getting 56% lime juice versus most competitors are 15%. Right. So you're getting, it's in a bottle, it's already made for you, but it's really
you're not paying for like 80% water.
Right.
That changes the texture too, correct?
Completely.
I mean, because I would say that's also one of the differences. Like even just getting we don't buy the mix as much because we do prefer to do everything ourselves. But I remember having had a mix once, and it was the same thing. Like, it's not the same as a real thing because when you go to a bar, they squeeze the lime juice fresh.
Right.
It's a completely different experience. And now that it's true, ever since COVID, it feels like customers are much more in tune with just textures, flavors, complexity, and it's great that there's something out there.
Not just and if you're having a party, I mean, I'm the first one to say if I'm making a drink just for myself and I have a lemon or lime in my fridge, I'm probably using that first.
Right.
But if I'm having 4 or 5, 6 people over, believe me,
I'm
not squeezing. So.
Well, it's hard, especially if you're having a party and you're doing the food and you're doing the cocktails. Like, you just don't end up enjoying it.
Right.
Yeah, been there.
Yeah, exactly.
You definitely have.
Yes, Alex knows. I'm just even having my 2 brothers over. Like, everyone wants something different. I'm like, I got food in the oven. Make yourself something,
Yeah.
But it's great that like there's that option.
Yeah.
That's gonna at least give you somewhat of what you can get like from your own home, or like the quality level.
Exactly. Well, and with it being organic, the key thing about being organic, because at the beginning you can imagine a lot of people were super skeptical about us being organic. Because they said it's alcohol. Why should that matter? And our thing is it's kind of like the good housekeeping seal of approval when you have that USDA organic seal on it, particularly in our category where there are a lot of cheaters that put a lot of fake things in there and they don't tell you because we don't have to put it on the label.
Right.
And so for us, just the fact that they know we're using real juice, we're using real, botanical essences and things like that, that's critical.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, and then you try to speak to this Juan Sarmiento. Thanks for watching the show this morning. He's asking like how does the organic part work? And in terms of obviously the rye, I'm assuming is.
Yes.
Out of curiosity, because he had said like organic potatoes. I know they made vodka with different things.
Yes.
What's sort of the rationale behind the rye part? I'm curious.
It was really for historical reasons. If you really dig back into the origin of vodka 400 plus years ago, and the Poles and the Russians are arguing about who really started it first, the Russians or the Poles. But generally speaking, back in the day, it did start primarily with potato vodka, but then rye was used especially in Poland and in Russia. If you think about, bread that comes from Eastern Europe, it tends to, skew very heavily to darker breads.
Yep.
And so rye was kind of one of the original ingredients to use in addition to potato. And so then only later did it really kind of start to skew as it moved west to Western Europe, and certainly in the United States. Western Europe tends to skew to wheat, which if you have a lot of these French imported or Swedish imported brands, they're all wheat-based. The Dutch brands, the French brands, they're all wheat-based.
Right.
And then you come to the U.S., and most of the U.S. product is made from corn. And so I really wanted to kind of pay homage to the origins of it. I wanted to make an old world style vodka, but in America.
Right.
Although I am only through marriage related to him. My husband is half Russian. Our last name was anglicized from Ivanov. His grandparents fled after the Bolshevik Revolution. They left Siberia and immigrated to San Francisco.
Oh, wow, what a story.
Yeah, very interesting story. His father was born in the U.S., but of Russian parents. And so there was a little bit of that kind of influence of wanting to kind of bring back an old world style. And rye is not easy. Rye does not like fermentation. It gets, it bubbles, it foams, it's not easy. And so part of it too was I knew we wouldn't probably get copied. It's easier to kind of have your niche, and the big boys don't want to bother with that.
Right.
So a lot of the big companies don't really want to be in that space. So it kind of makes us special. And our rye is a double platinum award winner, so I'm like, take that, big companies.
There you go. So
and I've heard that the flavor is better from the rye. Is that correct?
It has more character. So even though vodka by its nature is a fairly neutral spirit, obviously, right? But and you do have to have a pretty sophisticated palate to really be able to line up a lot of different vodkas and taste the nuances. Right. But rye has a lot more of a kind of bready, yeasty, spicy feel. Okay. Ours happens to be a little softer than Eastern European rye, and it's because of the type of varietal we use from North America versus Eastern European rye varietals, but also the organic fermentation makes it softer. So it's not super bitey, but it's got a lot of character.
Oh, wonderful.
That's
a trade-off.
When he mentioned that, I was like, you know what, that's a good question.
Well, that's what we love about the audience feedback live.
Thank you, Juan. Thanks for watching today. So, question for you, where in terms of shipping, people want to find out where to get access to this.
Yes.
Does it ship anywhere?
Yes and no. It depends on where you live. We do, if you go to our website, square1organicspirits.com, there are multiple options for purchasing. If somebody only wants, let's say, our Bloody Mary mix or our spicy ginger for Moscow mules or whatever, which we now call American mules, but we can ship the cocktail mixers directly, but all the alcohol products obviously have to go through the legal channels. So we do have a third-party e-commerce that can ship to most states in the United States, and then in the state of Virginia where we are, it's a little complex because of the liquor laws here. But some of our products can be found in the ABC stores. Our canned cocktails can be found in wine shops primarily. So like the Wine Guild of Charlottesville, Wine Warehouse here in Charlottesville, Yellow Umbrella Provisions in Richmond, places like that. Right. And then the cocktail mixers are in all the Whole Foods, Foods of All Nations, things like that. So it's not a universal distribution like it is in states like California or Washington, D.C. or things like that where they can carry everything in one place. So you can't do one-stop shopping in the state of Virginia.
No, unfortunately.
But you can online.
There you go. Absolutely. So where can people find out? I mean, you mentioned the website. Where else can people go to find out more, see what's new, and keep up with Square One?
I mean, we try to keep things going on our Instagram page, which is the Square One Organic Spirits is our handle. Square One Organic Vodka is actually the handle on Facebook, and so we are posting events and things that are going on that we're doing on there as well. And certainly, if you sign up for our newsletter, then you kind of get the inside scoop on what we've got going on.
Awesome. Fantastic. Allison, this has been such a pleasure. I've learned a lot. I didn't even know about the nuances of rye and potato and so forth. It's just amazing what you're doing as someone. We love organic and just the idea of fresh and as local as possible, obviously. The fact that it's in the U.S. in a beautiful place is also, so wonderful. So really just appreciate all that you're doing for the industry, and hopefully other spirits can either take that example or you'll beat them to it. So,
well, nobody will ever be able to take away the fact that we were the first.
Exactly.
Right? They may copy, they may come in, but we were the first, and that's
and that's something to be definitely congratulated for. So congratulations.
Thank you.
That's wonderful.
Thank you.
And thanks so much for coming on.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
All righty. So as we swap from one great guest to some others, so shout out Elizabeth Urpí, watching the show this morning.
And Johnny O'Neill watching the show.
Johnny O'Neill, amigo del programa, gracias. He's watching the show this morning. So we just love all our amazing guests, and we're gonna do a swap way. You just love when people kind of take passion, experience, right, risk taking. I mean, you just have to hand it to Allison too, like the willingness to take that risk and say, I know that I can do this.
Right.
And I'm going to take that risk, because that's really what entrepreneurship is. Yeah. In many ways, that's why we appreciate them so much.
You bear the brunt of the risk all yourself.
Yeah, the risk is yours. That you're taking to really make a difference and change the way things are done.
Right. And that also part of the push to succeed as well, when you think about it. It's now it's all on me. I can either make this work or I can kind of let it slip away.
Exactly. So it's so amazing to see that at work. And Juan Sarmiento, thanks for that question. It really spurred me into thinking, because she had talked about the rye, and I was like, oh yeah, why rye? Which is just such a fascinating.
Well, and then
the fact that she does that high quality from great state of.
You realize the knowledge too. Entrepreneurs have such a greater depth of knowledge than some of the more. I guess if you just get a brand
big
that's
corporate
a big corporate brand,
so forth.
You have a knowledge that's just unbelievably. We're doing a little swap-a-roo here.
We're doing a little swap here as we get. This is magic happening behind the scenes.
Yeah, and behind the scenes.
This is how this all works.
Yeah,
it's beautiful.
But there's a depth of knowledge that entrepreneurs have about their own products that it's great to, especially, and that's what we love about doing today, Mañana. You can ask them about it, and there's always a reason. It's rare. We've never really come up and asked somebody a question about like a small detail, and they're just sort of like, well. It was a whatever decision,
No, exactly.
It's never a whatever decision when you're running your own business.
Behind it, which is fantastic. So I mean, I'm so excited here. But we get to the audience doesn't see the setup to like the last minute, and we're like,
there's like drum roll like in our minds
exactly.
as we wait for.
It's like, this is going to be fantastic. So I think we can jump into this one here. So from one great guest to two more, we are super excited to welcome to the show this morning Josephine Carr. She's from Castle Hill. Hey, Josephine.
Welcome back.
Matt Harmon is back from Harmony Wine. Matt,
welcome back.
Thanks for coming back.
Thank you.
Matt, it's so good to have you both here. I know it's always fun when we have you both on the show. First time together, so that's fantastic. So for those who don't know you, I mean, we know you well. But for those who don't, Josephine, Matt, tell us a little bit about yourselves and then how Castle Hill and Harmony Wine came to get connected.
Would you like me to start?
Yeah, go ahead.
All right. My name is Josephine, and I'm the Director of Retail Operations over at Castle Hill Cider. How we met Matt, honestly, came across my email. It was floated over to me. Hey, this lovely guy has this wonderful idea. Would you like to meet with him? I was like, absolutely. I just threw my first festival last year, which was 231 Fest, which we have again this year. And I was excited to take on another one. When we first met, his whole entire concept behind the festival was really inspiring. He is a smaller business, he's a one-man show at the moment, and he's just inspiring all around, not only as an individual, and his product is also absolutely amazing. We absolutely just love the concept behind the festival and immediately wanted to be a part of it. I'm all about, Castle Hill is located in Craddock, Virginia. It's absolutely beautiful. And why get on an airplane and go get a vacation when your vacation's in your backyard? So
True.
That's how I feel about throwing festivals. And so Days of Rosé was just another opportunity to do so.
Yeah, absolutely. Matt, how about you?
Yeah, so I am the owner and founder of Harmony Wine. So the idea of Days of Rosé came to me because I wanted to be able to have the people decide which wine was their favorite, and I thought, what a better way to do so than with rosé and kicking it off in Virginia. As many people know, in the wine world, sometimes the reds don't always work out the way we want to based on weather.
Yeah.
But from that, we usually get some really, really good rosés. And so I approached Castle Hill because, as many of you know who've been out there, it's a beautiful property. And I thought that who better to partner with than someone who has a beautiful property and on a spring day. So.
Yep.
And I think talking a little bit about what the festival is
tell us
maybe
about
starting
it.
there
Yes,
might be
let's
like
do it. That was you're
Wow.
leading me to it. That's the next question.
Well, I was like, we just said why we wanted to do it, but I'm like, there's so much about it, why we wanted to do it. And voting was exactly the big concept, is giving people a voice. Was so exciting. We have all these competitions that we enter, and obviously the wine community is huge, and the cider community is also a big part of Charlottesville and Virginia itself. So have people come out and actually have a say, drink pink, wear pink, vote pink. So it's just a great opportunity for people to, have their voices heard and choose what their favorite Virginia rosé is,
I mean, it makes total sense. So tell us a little bit about what can people expect? All right, they're like, all right, what's going to be at the Days of Rosé Festival?
All right, rosé all day, right? You get your ticket, you come on site, you get to try over 10 plus different wineries, including one cidery, yours truly, our rosé, which is also sitting in front of us. We have an eclectic art show going on. We have a DJ from Richmond. So much. We have a chef from Hell's Kitchen, which is
Steve Glenn.
really, really exciting. And he's going to be doing a pairing with Castle Hill and Harmony's rosés as well. It's just going to be so much fun. I think this was an opportunity where I was like, let's bring South Beach vibes to Virginia, like Miami vibes, just have something really different, a little bit out of the box and fun for people to come to.
Or the Park Cuban had a little...
Yeah,
anything to do with that?
Absolutely.
Absolutely. So, I mean, that's fantastic. So, basically, I mean, you got food, you got
also
tasting,
food trucks. We can't
food
forget
trucks.
that. Lots and lots of food trucks. So many different kinds of food trucks as well. We have lobster rolls. We have a oyster food truck. We've got pizza. We've got a cake food truck. I mean, anything that you can want is going to be there.
Oh, you're killing me. Now I'm getting hungry and thirsty at the same time. So, out of curiosity, because we got some rosé wines here, we got some rosé cider. Wine and cider, how do you try to see them have you thought of like mixing
absolutely.
them, working with them in tandem?
We actually might have a sangria that is going to be available as well at the Days of Rosé Festival that is mixed with cider, our cider, and Harmony wine.
Oh, nice.
You said might.
Might. We will. I mean, I'm trying to throw out the teasers and
I
stuff.
know, but like it's too much mystery.
We're gonna have it, and we're gonna have frozen rosé as well. We'll have the cocktails going as well. Yeah.
Okay.
Nice.
But cider and wine is actually very similar, and a lot of people don't recognize that. In the process of making cider, it is the same fermentation process.
Right.
The largest difference between us and wine is the fruit. So it's really exciting for us also as a cidery to establish our process and kind of show how we can stand with wine as well, and how we are very similar in a lot of ways. Yeah.
Absolutely. So Matt, I'm curious, because I remember, I mean, you still, I always remember you as like the man who thought of like the idea Days of Rosé, because you had that hat even when you came in last year, and I'm like, this is this needs to be like top 10 marketing moves of all time, is to actually get that
to merch right on the show.
Yeah.
Should we put on the hat right
Show
now?
that hat, because he had this.
You merch, you got to merch.
And I was like, that's one of the best moves I've ever seen when I saw that last year. So what kind of made you even think of, okay, Rosé, Days of Rosé, because where did kind of Rosé grow out of when you began to start Harmony Wine?
Yeah, so rosé for me, I think, was an area that I think is kind of untouched, but people seem to absolutely love. And then especially putting the rosé that I have in cans, it became more of like a hot topic for me of like, let's push these cans, let's get people interested. It's fun and it's super accessible, super approachable. And the idea of a friendly competition between local wineries and my canned wine, which is not seen that often, I thought was going to be a lot of fun and get people really interested. I rarely run into people who say that they don't like rosé. And so the idea of something kicking off the springtime where they get to be a part of the process, enjoy a number of amenities that we're offering at this festival was just a win-win, honestly.
Absolutely. And what's kind of the origin of your rosé wine? How did you put that together?
So it's kind of twofold. One, there was a glass shortage when I was looking to put my wine into a bottle. And so what I did actually was I imported some rosé from France and decided to put it in a can, but not just putting it in a can, but I blended it with a Virginia rosé, which are like two no-nos. I was getting a lot of pushback originally. And so after the product came out, people absolutely loved it, which I thought, great for me.
It's fantastic.
Oh, it is fantastic.
It is so
you gave us
good.
some last time, and it's not there. It's gone.
I was sold on the idea of the festival, and then I was like, I should probably try the wine before actually saying yes. And so, and I was playing it cool, and I was like, hey, do you have any with you? Is it in your car? And so he brings it out, and I hope I didn't look like so shocked. But, you don't expect that much, like, to come from a can. There is kind of a stigma behind a can and the elevation quality of it, but oh my gosh, I would drink this all day and recommend. And I'm not just saying that. I mean, it was my defining factor. I took one sip and I was like, I already felt like a yes, but now this is the absolute yes. Like, yeah.
Confident, yes.
Oh, it's so good. It's so good.
But it's amazing how it just grows out of, I don't have any bottles. Let's try this.
Yeah, cans.
Let's try this.
Yeah.
Well, they're a lot sturdier too. Especially like I know going on a picnic. I always I once went with a couple friends, and we were sort of like, do we take a bottle to the beach? Do we not take the bottle? Because if we drop the backpack or it gets bumped in the car,
you just take Harmony Wine Rosé in a
that-
can with you.
But that's the whole point. Right, but that's what's the brilliance.
Yeah. Yeah, I think, and that was the second part of it, is making wine accessible in those places where wine usually isn't. The beach, the pool, golf courses, people who want to go on picnics and hiking. Glass will always be in wine, and the ability to be able to make it more transportable. And then also, sometimes you don't want to have a whole bottle. You just want one glass. And that kind of eliminates that problem as well. So
Yeah, you don't have to be carrying around that like cork stopper.
Yeah.
Please don't leak. Please do not leak in my car. Vicky Adkins, thanks for watching the show this morning. Josephine, what about Castle Hills Rosé?
Our rosé.
I don't think we've tasted this one yet.
Oh,
Not on air.
Not on air. Okay, not on air. I should
We're
say.
definitely going to, and I realized I put all these bottles here, and I didn't bring an opener, so I might have to have MJ,
MJ's like, I got
our
this.
girl, come bring it to us.
Thank you, MJ.
MJ's like, I got this.
So our rosé is actually infused with elderberry and dark cherry juice, as well as, of course, apple juice. Those are unfermented juices when they are added and blended in.
Judah's getting very excited behind the camera.
But yeah, so we actually let our cider sit on the red apple skin. So it, as rosé sits on their, skins as well, we honor that process in our rosé to try to make it a true rosé as well. Even though obviously it is cider, a little bit different, but it is infused with elderberry, dark cherry. It's extremely fun and extremely popular for us already. So yeah,
I'm excited to try it. I don't know if I've had it actually.
You
It's
have.
so good.
And you
I have.
recommended it to me, and then when I went to go get it, didn't have any.
There
So
we go.
I haven't tried it, but
There
Alex
also
has tried
Nick
it.
has
Yes,
not tried
I
it.
have
No,
not
I
tried
had it
it.
reversed.
Today's the day.
Today's the day, which is why I
day.
was excited. I was like, I'm hosting tonight. Yeah.
Nick says that was
I
behind the
insisted.
scenes.
I was like, I'm
he wasn't
hosting.
originally hosting
Yeah.
today, but he said it's Josephine.
my
Matt.
turn,
I am
yeah.
hosting.
Yeah.
I am hosting today. So, all right, So I know we kind of covered what people can look forward to at the festival. But we talked a little bit about this. Other things coming down the pipeline that you guys are kind of excited about.
Got another festival too. We got 231, which I think the really cool thing about both these festivals, they're so different from each other. So totally a different vibe, a different energy. 231 is going to be very exciting as well. Very also kid friendly. 231 is really focused, and this is also focused on community aspects. So I don't want that to get confused.
Yeah.
But we really bring in a lot of local small businesses at 231, especially focusing in that Craddock area and getting people out there. So yeah, it's just a little bit of a different energy behind it.
Right.
So if you come to one and you like it, definitely come to the other. It's going to be completely different, but it's going to be just as fun. I
Yeah.
can guarantee
It's
that.
fun.
So.
Absolutely.
And if it's not, you can find me at the festival. I'm always working it, and you can yell at me if you're not having a good time, and I make sure you're having a good time.
You know nobody's going to do that.
I
It's
know.
great.
You're gonna have a great time.
Yeah,
Yeah,
no, all
but-
the festivals you guys put on.
They're going to be too busy
phenomenal,
looking
yeah.
for Matt to be like, who made this one? Who made this one?
He'll be in the best outfit. That's how you'll find Matt. He's so well dressed all the time. The
Let's hope
best
so.
pink outfit.
No, he really is, and the color coordination was.
Yeah.
was
We can't wait to see you
beautiful.
guys in pink at the festival as well.
Absolutely. Well, I mean,
I don't
and
have
you're
anything.
redeeming.
We can fix that.
Oh,
Think
yeah.
about it,
No,
you
I
guys.
see.
I feel like they're redeeming what is otherwise, April 15th.
Shh, don't say
it's
it.
Tax Day.
Oh.
Abraham Lincoln
Abraham
died that
Lincoln
So
day.
everyone needs a drink, right? Like
Exactly. You know what I mean? There's nothing good that happened on April 15th that I can even
Well,
think
it's
of,
also
you know?
interesting because rosé itself is I actually, funny thing, I came back from Italy and there was a wine tasting, and the sommelier was like, no, the rosé, like he wouldn't drink it, just won't drink it at all, and I'm very surprised. But but meanwhile, when you get to the more especially here in America, it's a big thing. People love
gosh,
it.
nothing
It's-
beats like a beautiful hot day and a nice chilled glass of rosé.
Exactly.
Bubbles, no bubbles. Something about it just makes you feel elevated. Everything, like you could be sitting on the
does.
back of your porch, or you could be looking at like the most gorgeous view at Castle Hill at the Days of Rosé Festival. But no, but seriously, having rosé is a great afternoon drink. And not that I should be promoting drinking afternoon, but it is. It's great with lunch.
It is a great
With
afternoon
lunch,
drink. There's nothing wrong with that.
With food, I think is one of the things people often overlook. Like, because I am a huge fan of rosé cava, sparkling rosés,
Yeah.
right? Even
Eating and drinking.
Yeah, eating with rosé, like having it with your food, because it adds that kind of lighter
Component, yeah.
quality, but it's a little more flavorful than your ordinary white wine.
It contains
Right,
some of the
yeah.
richness of red, while not
Exactly.
necessarily overpowering. So, especially today, especially with all the food trucks that you're bringing in, there's gonna be a nuance to the food, and that's what we're experiencing more. Is like chefs are hitting more of a. It's not a piece of white fish with that you need something as pulled back as possible as a white. But it's also not a steak, so
Yeah.
where do you go? And rosé it pairs so well.
It really does. Yeah.
Super flexible, I guess.
Absolutely. So let's try this.
Yeah.
Let's try this.
Heck yeah.
Let's do
Where
this.
should we start? I think
We should start with
where do you wanna
me
start?
because I haven't tried it yet.
I mean,
Where should we
I think
start?
maybe palette-wise, we should actually start with Harmony. and then go
And then
to
go to
Castle
the
Hill, just because
sweeter.
it has that other infused flavor going on
Let's
into
do
it.
that.
Yeah.
That'd
Are you
be
pink?
fun.
Are you pink or white?
They're
They're
both
both
the
the
same,
same.
right?
Let's do paint.
Should we just
Okay,
simultaneously
okay.
open them? Because that's fun. On the
Paint.
count of 3.
Okay, let's do
All right.
1, 2,
3.
3.
Woo!
Very nice.
You
That
guys.
sounds so good.
Cheers.
Salud.
Salud.
I love Thursdays, guys. It's official.
Ooh.
And definitely, if you want to grab me a glass, we should definitely pour, just so you can see the color of it as well.
Yeah.
It is super beautiful.
Look at that.
Yeah.
Look at that color.
I can't. I don't know where the camera is. I feel
You
like
just
they're
hold it
everywhere.
up.
I'm just gonna do
It's
the.
perfect. If it's
Like,
right in front of you. And
All right.
Get it.
Hold it up and Judah will find it.
are you finding it, Judah?
See, it's the light, the refreshing, but the remnant of the tannins, like, in it just
Yeah.
gives it that little bit of red flavor that you
That's
just
so
it's
good.
more. It's like white wine, but more. If that
Yeah,
makes sense.
yeah. I think my favorite part about it, putting it in the can, was noticing the tartness that a lot of times that rosé can have, and it doesn't linger, which makes it a little bit smoother. Which, yeah, just sets it off, especially on a hot day. So
Oh yeah.
Because that was one of the things that jumped out at me was the tartness. Is that more of a French thing or an American thing, or is it a rosé thing?
I would say that it's a rosé thing. I think most of the rosés that I have a level of tartness, and that's usually where you win or lose people. Is if it's a little too tart, then they're thinking it's more of a dry, and if it's a little sweet, if it's on the less tartar side, then it's a little bit sweeter. But I think for me personally, it's about finding that good balance of
Right.
the
I'm really-
tartness is there, and then it fades away.
I'm really interested to see who ends up winning People's Choice at this
Yes.
festival, just because there's so many different kinds that are coming of rosé.
Right.
You know, it's going to be really interesting. Yeah. Oh, he's like, vote for me. Yeah, but we have, King Family, Veritas, all of the locally, like, very big names as well, like, within the wine community that we're super excited to see. When you arrive on site, you're going to get a pink poker chip. And so this poker chip is how you're going to cast your vote. So you go around, try your wines, have a great time, listen to the DJ, try some food, whatever, good company. When you turn in that poker chip, that's your vote, and you get a full comp glass. So that's kind of your exchange for, your input. And and then at the end, we're going to count them all up and see who wins.
Wow, that'll be exciting.
Yeah, it's going to be super fun.
Yeah.
Oh, that's thrilling. That's thrilling. Remind us of the time. So, what are the times of this?
11 to 5.
Oh, beautiful. So
Yeah.
I was going to
best
all
hold
day.
for Judah.
the best times of the day.
Or do you want this one?
Give me that one. It's got the time on it, just so everyone has it.
There we go.
Just-
Nice bid. And can I just say, DAZE,
Oh, that was
the
all.
play
Yeah.
on words is just so good.
All Matt. That was all Matt.
So good.
Yeah, well done. Yeah.
Yeah, it's been really fun, working with him. He came in with the initial idea, and then I was like, oh my God, what about an art show? What about this? And he's like, yeah. And so he's just been super energetic to work with, and it's been such a lovely process.
Do you know some of the artists that are going to be joining us there? Or
He actually does.
I do.
does
So I
some
know
of them.
that one of the main ones that's coming is going to be Jay. He actually did the mural right down the street.
nice.
And I know that mural is one that a lot of people are super interested in. We have a couple of other artists that have reached out. We reached out through X Park, so we have a couple of other artists.
Oh,
that
We
are
have some
super
really
excited.
talented people.
This
I
is some great
was
stuff.
overwhelmed with the amount of talent here in Charlottesville. I haven't really, I'm newer here, and I'm very immersed in my work. I haven't had a lot of time to go out, and really explore it. And getting all of these, applications to be an artist at this festival, I was just blown away by the talent. And there's so much mixed media that's going to be there as well, from people, whose medium, watercolor, to a girl who blows glass live. I mean, how cool is that? I was
Yeah.
like, oh my gosh, is this for real? Like,
Yeah.
It's so neat. I mean, one of the blessings of doing today, Mañana, is how many talented people.
And of course,
neat.
with the art, we're doing actually a silent auction for VIPs. Each artist is donating a piece to be put to auction, and all those profits are going to go to two.
Yeah.
Or proceeds, I should say, are going to go to two nonprofit. If you want to talk about those
Yeah,
two
yeah,
nonprofit
yeah.
organizations, we love philanthropy over at Castle Hill, and so anytime we can, our 231 festival, it benefits the Blue Ridge Food
Ridge
Bank.
Food Bank,
We
I remember that.
fed 67,000 people last year. We're
Wow.
hoping to double that this year, and so taking on this festival, that was something that was really important to Castle Hill, is making sure that we find a way to give back throughout all this fun as well. But yeah,
Absolutely.
definitely
Yeah.
talk about those nonprofits.
Yeah, so the two nonprofits that I reached out to were living free, and they work with military families, adjusting them to help them get back into kind of like the flow of things after being overseas.
Yeah.
They're a great organization. And so then the other organization is Just Help Africa. And what they do is the two to three guys who are running it, they all came from Africa, and what they did was go back to their hometown and build wells because water is really difficult to find.
Wow.
So they're helping with that and a number of other resources, whether it's schooling or just projects to help make life a little bit easier than it was for them growing up. So
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So you get a beautiful piece of art, and it's sitting in your home, and you're like, "Dang, I did something good on top of
Exactly.
acquiring this piece." So
Yeah, you're
Well, I'm going to throw that out again because I keep referencing this study I found that there are psychologists who said make sure your home has art in it because it livens. It's just mentally it livens you up, challenges you, and it makes you it actually increases your happiness. So if you don't have art, go out
You're
there.
making me want to shop right now.
Get art, yeah, but fill your house with art. Fill your house with beauty. It's one of the things that people don't realize. Fill your house with beauty. It's essential to your mental health, and that's especially mental health is another thing that we really need to focus on more in our communities.
Absolutely.
But mental health, fill your house with art, and this is a great way to do it. You're gonna shop around. All the artists are coming to one place.
yeah,
Right.
Talk about eclectic. It's gonna be really exciting.
Because something's going to speak to you. Something always does. That's what happens.
Yeah, whether
with art.
it's their individual story or the piece itself, or if it provokes an
wine.
emotion in you, or the wine.
Or the wine.
The wine will definitely make you feel even more things about the art.
Right, exactly.
It all goes together.
Even more feels. I have to say, this is just fantastic.
Yeah, I love
the combination. I'm curious
wanna
to
try some-
Yeah, let's
some
try
cider?
this out. Yeah, let's follow this with a sip of cider
Heck yeah.
right there. And you did tell. See, you've done fans even international. We thought
Yeah, we have a Spanish
Marta
watch.
Urpí from Spain is watching the show this morning.
Yeah.
So thank you, Marta. So we got some from Spain.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah,
we have
went
an international
again
audience. Yeah.
That is amazing.
today. They love their they make in Spain Cava is the Spanish champagne. They
Okay,
make
yeah,
rosé
yeah.
cava. One of my favorite things.
Oh, I love
is
that.
As
the
well as
rosé.
Sidra, which is a cider. So this
Sidra-
is a
oh, yeah,
perfect,
Sidra,
this is
which
like a
is
Spanish
cider.
episode.
I had the
yeah.
best time in Spain. I went and my school did a little immersion kind of program, and
Right.
I was in Valladolid, and it was amazing. So
Spain's beautiful
now I want to get on a plane to Spain, but again, you don't have to get on an airplane to have a good time.
No,
you
not.
can come to Castle
You do
Hill
it
and go to the Days of Rosé
right here,
Festival.
right here, absolutely. Because it's such one of the beauties of Castle Hill is that you're combining obviously the cider, which is excellent, but just the ambiance.
It is so gorgeous, I
the
can't-
beautiful views, the serenity of the water, right? Just the activity of usually what's happening on the other side, away from the water, the beautiful event space.
There's a
It's
reason
just-
my wife took me on my birthdays, because you can relax.
Yeah.
You can just sit there and just feel yourself calm down, just and cider's perfect for that. The cider is just amazing for that afternoon relaxation.
And the view, if I'm having a bad day or whatever, I just look up and I'm like, okay, I have to be so grateful. I mean, this is gorgeous. This is a great place to have a bad day at. So, it really is absolutely gorgeous out there.
That's a good way to put it. It's a good place to have
have
a
a
bad
bad
day
day.
at.
It truly is. It truly is. All right, I'm excited.
Cheers,
to
guys.
taste this.
Cheers.
Salud.
Thank you so much.
Salud.
Salud.
Go for it. I'm still working on my harmony still in my glass, but
I told you.
Yeah,
Super
he's
fun.
right. It was good.
and playful as well.
Yeah,
I mean,
it is.
it is absolutely a crowd favorite.
It does have a little bit of berry in it. It was
Yeah.
kind of interesting. Yeah.
You get
Elderberry,
that.
dark cherry.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, very
That
nice.
makes it a lot more that does remind me of wine because in the sense of those flavors are very common and
And
especially darker wines.
it has a semi-dry finish to it. So that first taste is going to be very fruit forward, and then it's going to calm down. It's not super sweet,
No, yeah.
and it's going to have that dry finish at the end. So,
Yeah. Wow.
Absolutely.
and
Well, it has
it's
one of those-
sparkling as well. So,
Exactly. Well, it has one of those beautiful things where I always talk about it as the illusion of sweetness. In other words,
Yeah.
the flavors of it, because it's so fruity, trick your mind into thinking, oh yeah, this must be sweeter than it really is.
right.
But then as you taste it, it's not overwhelmingly sweet. It avoids the issue sometimes, if you've just drank plain cherry juice, right? You're going to be
Right.
like, it gives the flashbacks of like medicine.
Yeah.
And you're like, it's cherry. I know it's cherry, but it's like, it's so sweet.
Take
But
another
then
sip of the
this-
Harmony, because it's kind of interesting when you've
When you
had
one
not
and the
only
other.
have one and the other, and then you go back.
Yeah.
I cannot wait. We
There's
have
a lot of
But it
complexity
avoids
in that wine.
being
That's very well.
overly
Congratulations.
sweet.
That's really
Thank
well
you.
done. Yeah.
I'm really excited to see them together in the sangria. We have a new
That's gonna be
tasting room
fun.
manager over at Castle Hill, and he is an absolute phenomenal bartender as well.
Wonderful.
Very well known in the community, and so I'm like really excited about his creations.
Yes.
Everything he's come up with so far is very exciting, like cider all spritz and like a plain of Boulevardier, which is so inspiring. It's very out of the box.
Wait, did you say a cider spritz? Like
Like a cider all spritz, so like a take
like-
on an Aperol spritz,
Oh,
but made with
interesting.
cider. Yeah, ginger cider margarita he's working on, and I'm telling a little bit too much because these things are not concrete, but these are all ideas he's playing with, and so he's very, as is just a great mixologist, bartender in person as well, of course. But I can't wait to try the sangria playing
That's
together
gonna be a lot
because
of
Oh, these two.
I can only imagine. It's
These
gonna
two
be
are going to
incredible.
meld beautifully.
Yeah.
Because like you said, it's beautiful because it's not overly sweet, right? It just has that beautiful fruit flavor,
Fruitfulness, yeah.
and then combined with the tartness
Yeah.
of the rosé.
really
Oh, it's going to be
exciting.
well,
it's gonna be
apple is one of the
fantastic.
key ingredients to sangria anyway, right? You always put apple
Yeah.
and orange. Like apple and orange are like the big ones that I can think of, and in some places is cinnamon stick. I was reading, so but those are like the key flavors. So
And
to
we've
have
got
them
it in a
already,
bottle already,
right? You've
right?
already
Yeah.
bottled it, so it's gonna be wow.
The essence of apple with the essence of beautiful wine.
Yeah.
That's amazing. I'm looking forward to this so much. So what's the place for people to go to get tickets for
So-
Days of Rosé? What are the ticket options that people can look forward
You
to?
can find our link on Castle Hill Cider on our Instagram as well. Days of Rosé also has an Instagram handle where the ticket link is in the bio at Days of Rosé, at Castle Hill Cider. That's our handle, and then at Harmony Wine, right?
Yep, at Harmony Wine, at tasteofharmony.com, Harmony_wine on Instagram. And
Everywhere.
Very
Anywhere,
Yeah,
yeah.
and I'm sure
Very
you all will
easy.
see tons of flyers around town.
Can you buy at Castle Hill Cider? Can you buy tickets, or do you have to have purchase in advance?
You can buy tickets on site, but this is what I'll say. We have limited the amount of tickets.
Okay.
So grab them now.
That's good to
we
know.
don't want you to show up and not be able to get a ticket.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Do not want to wait to the last minute.
Do not buy
For
them
this.
now, and we don't. The worst thing would be showing up and not being able to get it.
Yeah,
right?
no,
No,
So
no,
do not take that chance.
definitely
This
buy
is-
a ticket beforehand.
You're
Lots
con-
of parking. It's only a 20-minute drive from Charlottesville.
Oh, so
Big
easy.
misconception for Keswick, but
Yeah.
yeah, 20 minutes. That's how long it took me
And
to
really,
get
It's
here.
not
so
far
easy,
at all.
So easy to
Yeah.
get to. It's,
Yeah.
It,
Even the drive itself is beautiful.
Oh,
I'm just gonna
it's
say that.
gorgeous.
Even the
It's
drive out
It's
there is
nice.
just like you
Absolutely
already
gorgeous.
feel yourself getting
I
in that
heard,
phase.
and I don't know how accurate this is, but I heard it was actually voted like one of the top scenic drives in America.
Really?
Yeah,
I wouldn't surprise me.
At the
No.
cutting of the 231 group, I believe it was our governor who said it. So I think, I'm not going to quote him, but I'm pretty sure that's what I heard. And I was like, wow, that is so cool.
Yeah.
And obviously, I'm driving. I try not to look around a lot while I'm driving, but yeah, I noticed it. I was like, wow, it is absolutely gorgeous.
Yeah.
That's no. I
It
mean,
is
that
beautiful.
wouldn't
It's a
surprise me
beautiful
at
area,
all.
yeah.
It's such an easy way to get. Because normally you think out in the country, oh, it must be like wine. No, it's. I mean, it's even very simple.
Yeah, it's a
to
nice
get
easy
to. I would
drive.
still use your designated driver. So
Yeah.
still do that.
Listen, drink
But-
responsibly and drive responsibly.
Exactly.
So that is something we definitely want to encourage to everyone.
Exactly. But the beauty of having a designated
have fun and
driver
be safe.
is that everyone else can look out the window
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
enjoy.
And we do
Yeah.
have designated driver tickets as well. So super
okay.
accommodating in that factor. They're a lot more affordable as well. So if you're going to keep all your friends safe.
Well,
and
that's
guide
why
them
we
there.
always take Alex's fiance because she doesn't drink. So
Oh,
everyone
perfect.
else just like
Designated driver.
go there. Everyone, and she's gonna be like the one. I'm gonna be like, just so you know.
Yeah, but remember, she likes cider, though.
Oh,
Cider,
there's-
I have taken her to Castle Hill a couple times. So
Oh,
she
okay,
likes
so-
cider. That's a different story. That's a different story, though.
The story
hard
always
thing
ends the
to-
same: is that somebody's a DD and it's not me.
Love that.
So guys, this is going to be so fantastic. Before we let you go, anything else that you're hyped about or you wanted to share with the audience?
I feel like we've covered most of it.
Yeah, I think so.
I'm genuinely excited, like inside and out, if you can't tell. I mean, we're in our matching pink today.
Yep.
And, yeah, I guess I would just end with, come drink pink, wear pink. It's so fun. Everyone's going to be dressed,
Yeah.
even if it's just a little piece of pink.
Well, the world will be pink. 'Cause, I mean, the
I can't wait to get like a
flowers,
drone
pink,
shot and
Yeah.
you just see pink
Yeah.
everywhere.
Yeah,
You know.
I mean, the blooms are pink right
Yeah,
now
absolutely.
and white. It's beautiful out there, and in April it's still going to be.
Yeah, it's going to be gorgeous. I'm super excited. I think with the amount of wineries we have coming, it's going to get a lot of headway, and it's nothing's more fun than going out on a spring day after you finish your taxes and drinking some rosé and being able to sample a ton of rosés, supporting local nonprofits, supporting local artists, and supporting the wineries and cidery in the area. And then you get to vote on which one is your favorite. So
Think about it. It's
So much fun. The only thing I don't like about this is that I can't, attend it. I have to work it. But no, honestly, that's why I love doing it, is because it's genuinely something I would call up my friends and be like, oh my gosh, we have to go do this together. This
Right.
sounds so much fun. And that's what it's going to be. So we hope to see everyone
Oh,
there.
it's going to be a blast.
And you guys too.
Oh yeah.
Better be
I'll
there.
be walking around with my chip like, I gotta try everyone else first. Like everyone, I would be like, no.
before you cast your vote.
Well,
yeah.
that's the way I am. I'm more like, put my
Listen,
first one I
them
try,
all.
I'll put the chip. And
Try
then
them all
be like,
twice.
no.
Whatever you need to do, and
gotta
then make
go-
your vote confidently.
Yeah, I'm gonna need like 50 chips and be like, oh no, you're the best. Then pass. No, this one's the best.
You can always put it in Castle Hill or Harmony's bucket too. You know what I mean?
That's true. I'll just be like,
Oh, is Castle Hill up for?
We are going to be up in it. It's a rosé competition, and ours is a rosé.
Oh, so
so
it's not limited to wine.
it's not limited to wine. We will, I'd be shocked if we won, just to be fully transparent with all the wineries there.
I would not. I
But-
would not be shocked if you won.
That
I'm
would be
gonna honest
exciting,
with
but
I'd
it'll
be shocked if anybody other than Matt won. So,
yeah,
I mean,
Matt is like, I'm going to win. That is it. I want to win.
you. Well, it's sort of like whenever the governor's cup comes out, and like at, Castle Hill, like she's just like, we won for this and this. I'm like, but what about the other ones?
Yeah.
They should have won too.
Yeah.
And I always get that reaction because like what you guys, and I'll say it, I've said it before, I'll say it again, what you guys do out at Castle Hill Cider is completely different from every other cidery.
I appreciate that.
It's unique, and that's the thing, is like every single one, it has its own unique flavor profile, and as somebody who appreciates cider and wants to drink certain things with their food and likes to pair, that's essential, and that's, you can't get that from other cideries, both in the state and everywhere else. Like, I appreciate all the other cideries here, but Castle Hill is doing something completely different.
Oh, it makes me feel so happy. But truthfully, that's why I wanted to get involved with Castle in the first place, was the product.
Yeah.
I didn't know anything really about the place, and what it was doing at
Yeah.
the time. And so when I tried the cider, I was like, wow, this is so different, It reminded me of my time in Normandy.
Nice.
And I hadn't really had a lot of cider in the U.S.
Right.
And so my conception of, my perception of cider was very different to what Castle Hill
Right.
put out. And I was like, oh my God, I want to be a part of this. Like, this feels like a movement, We're going to, introduce people and introduce their palates to this kind of cider. And we have such a variety. So there's something for everyone.
exactly. And really, between you and Matt, I mean, the movement is really both of you. I think are
Yeah,
really
Matt is here to make waves. So.
Taking something that has a tradition behind it, but taking it in a new and exciting direction, which is just fantastic.
Well, I will say, just so everyone listening knows, wine started as mixing grapes from all sorts of wineries. Dom Perignon was an actual monk. He created the champagne by taking from 3 different vineyards because in the Middle Ages, each vineyard was extremely fragile. Mm-hmm. So he mixed all the wines because if there was one that wasn't as good or one that was better, they would all balance out in the end. So like this is what Matt is doing is not necessarily.
It's
not. It's
kind of awesome. You need to start saying that to people.
You're the Dom Perignon
I'm
of
actually
today.
more
is what it
traditional
is.
than
Yeah.
everybody else. There we go.
That's your slogan now.
More traditional than everybody else. There you
Yeah.
go.
Yeah, it's true.
There you go.
I love that.
Love it. Guys, it's been an absolute pleasure to have you both here. This has been absolutely fantastic. We've enjoyed every minute of it. We always love having you on. Just your enthusiasm and your joy and your passion for what you do, it shines through. So
I love
you.
being here. It's so
Thank
much
you.
fun. Thanks for having us.
Yeah.
no, thanks for coming on. It's been a great show.
Yeah.
I've enjoyed every minute of it.
If we didn't have time for finance, which is probably in your benefit,
Oh,
because we were going to do finance jokes, and we decided to
Can we get one?
No one needs.
Can we get one joke?
one joke.
One
Yeah, one
finance
joke.
joke.
Well, this one is not mine, but it was actually Norm Macdonald who said, "I signed up for my company's 401k, but I don't think I can run that far."
That's
I
great.
like
It's
that one.
kind of a dad joke, but it's great.
Yeah. Oh, they were all like that because you can't really. Finance isn't funny.
Every finance joke is basically a dad joke.
Pretty much. Well, I guess maybe we'll share one a week, or we'll see what
There we
happens.
go.
But in the meantime,
No, in the meantime, we're excited about next week. Be sure to join us. We got some more great people coming on. We're going to have Taina Falles Castro from Taida Coffee.
I heard recently that so if you go to Guajiros and order their café con leche or their café, it's now Taiga coffee.
Oh, very nice. Very nice. So she's going to join us, local entrepreneur. Dr. Leanne Petit, I think, is joining us from Charlottesville Opera.
Yes.
We got some opera. And then, of course, last but not least, Matthias Yon from Matthias Yon Realty going to join us next week. So he's going to be on. So it's going to be another fantastic show. Be sure to check out, of course, the Days of Rosé Festival on April 15th from, I believe you said 11 a.m. to 5 p.m.
That's right.
So you can just have a beautiful afternoon. You can find tickets and all the information you need, castlehillcider.com. Check out Castle Hill Cider on Facebook, Instagram. Check out Harmony Wine, Facebook, Instagram, everywhere. You can, and there is a Days of Rosé. Key thing, DAZE. There is a Days of Rosé event page on Facebook. So if you just type Days of Rosé into Facebook, you cannot miss it because it pops up. It's the first thing that pops up. You click it, and it has all the information you need. So be sure to check that out. Be sure to go and enjoy a beautiful. I think it's a Saturday, April 15th.
Yes, it's Saturday. And there's also some giveaways going on. So if you browse Instagram, Washingtonian actually just launched a giveaway for not only tickets to Rosé, but a stay in Charlottesville. So we have partnered also with the Quirk Hotel and the Graduate.
So much I love it. The collaboration, I'm loving it. So be sure to check that out. Be sure to check out all the events coming up at Castle Hill. There's many. 231 is going to be later in the spring as well. I think we'll have you guys back to talk about that for sure. So just be sure to check it all out. Thank you, Judah, behind the camera. I know he was making everything work today. We even had a little hand of God coming in with the mic. So love it there. Thank you, the audience, for your great questions. Juan Sarmiento, Elizabeth Urpí, Marta Carré out in Spain. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. Be sure to send us any other questions, thoughts, comments, things you want to share. Be sure to like and share the show and all the recordings. Thank you, Emergent Financial Services, of course, for being our presenter. Of course, thank you to our great partners at Castle Hill Cider, Matthias Yon Realty, Craddock Serious Insurance, Forward, Adelante. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you, I Love CVille Network. And we will look forward to seeing you next week and on April 15th at Castle Hill. But until that time, as we like to close it out on the show, hasta mañana.
That was fun.
Can we talk?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, we can talk.